The morning bell echoed through the hallways of Westbrook High as Noah Bennett stood before his new classroom, clutching his leather satchel with white knuckles. At 28, his slender frame and gentle brown eyes belied the strength he once possessed as a Marine. The Yale diploma in his bag felt like a shield too thin for the battlefield of Southside Chicago's most notorious public school. Westbrook was known not for academics, but for its revolving door of teachers who rarely lasted a semester. Gang insignias marked territories and hallways where dropout rates soared and hope diminished with each passing year. Yet something had drawn Noah here, perhaps the same force that once pulled him toward danger rather than away from it. "Good morning," he said softly as students filtered in, his voice steady despite the whispers and stares. Noah wrote his name on the board and began calling roll when laughter erupted from the back. Three boys lounged with the confidence that comes from unchallenged authority. Tyler Harrison, the school's football star, flanked by Jason Patel and Zach Miller. "Yo, Mr. B," Tyler called out, stretching the syllables mockingly. "You sure you didn't make a wrong turn? The elementary school's down the block?" His companions snickered as Noah continued reading names, refusing to engage. By the third day, their taunts had evolved. Noah found crude drawings on his desk and homophobic slurs scratched into his chair. Still, he persisted with quiet dignity, even as whispers about his wedding ring spread through hallways. "No wife waiting at home for you, Mr. Bennett," Tyler had asked loudly during class discussion. "Or is there a Mr. Bennett instead?" The room fell silent, waiting for reaction. Noah had simply replied, "We're discussing Hemingway today. Tyler, please focus." But on Friday morning, everything changed. As Noah walked between desks collecting homework, Tyler pretended to stretch and caught the teacher's shirt sleeve. With deliberate force, he pulled, tearing the fabric from shoulder to chest. The classroom froze at the sound of ripping cloth. Noah stood motionless, clutching the torn fabric against his body, but not before everyone glimpsed the military dog tags tattooed over his heart. The bell rang into silence. Even Tyler seemed shocked by his own action. Noah simply walked out without a word, leaving stunned faces behind. What happened next would change Westbrook High forever. Those same bullies who had torn away Noah's dignity would soon be on their knees begging for his forgiveness. Because beneath that mild exterior was a warrior with a past none of them could have imagined. Have you ever misjudged someone based on appearances? This story from Heart Stories reminds us that strength often hides in the most unexpected places. Like, subscribe, and join us to hear what happens when this gentle teacher reveals his true identity. Principal Garcia found Noah in the faculty bathroom, methodically pinning his torn shirt together with safety pins from the front office. Their eyes met in the mirror's reflection. "I should have warned you about Tyler and his friends." She sighed, her military posture revealing her own past. "His file says he's acting out, but that doesn't excuse today." Noah shook his head. "I don't want them expelled. Dr. Garcia, they deserve consequences," she insisted. "They deserve understanding." Noah replied softly, fingers tracing the tattooed dog tags visible through his torn shirt. But perhaps it's time they learned what real strength looks like. Before becoming an English teacher, Noah Bennett had lived another life entirely. 5 years earlier, he had stood proud in his Marine dress uniform beside Daniel, his husband of 2 years and a decorated Navy SEAL. They had met during a joint training exercise between Force Recon and SEAL Team 6, an unlikely romance born in the harsh terrain of military life. Daniel had been the brave one, navigating both the dangers of combat and the complexities of military policy toward gay servicemen. "Courage isn't about fearlessness," Daniel would say. "It's about doing what's right even when you're terrified." Those words had carried Noah through countless missions across Afghanistan's unforgiving landscape. Their last goodbye had been rushed, a stolen moment before Daniel's unit deployed on a classified operation. "Keep teaching the world kindness, Noah," Daniel had whispered against his ear, "even when it forgets what kindness means." 3 weeks later, Noah opened his door to 2 solemn officers bearing news of an ambush. Daniel's unit had been cornered by Taliban fighters. He had died ensuring his team could escape. The grief nearly destroyed Noah. He took medical leave, then resigned his commission. For months, he barely left their apartment, surrounded by memories and unanswered questions. The folded flag from the funeral remained untouched on the mantle. Salvation came unexpectedly while clearing Daniel's belongings. Noah found a military USB drive containing a video message recorded before that final mission. Daniel's face filled the screen, those familiar eyes crinkling at the corners. "If you're watching this, things went sideways," Daniel said. "I need you to promise me something. Noah, don't let grief hollow you out. Your heart was always your greatest strength. The same heart that taught me to see beyond the uniform, beyond the expectations. The world needs teachers like you." That message guided Noah to Walter Reed Medical Center, where he volunteered counseling veterans struggling with PTSD. Helping others heal somehow began healing his own wounds. When he researched teaching positions, Westbrook High stood out, a struggling school with many students from military families. Now, standing in Principal Garcia's office, Noah made his decision. "I have an idea," he said quietly. "Something that might reach Tyler and his friends where detention never would." Garcia studied him carefully. "What did you have in mind?" Noah's plan would transform not just 3 troubled teens, but eventually the entire school. Because sometimes our deepest wounds become our greatest teachers, and the lessons we learn through pain are those we can teach with the most compassion. That afternoon, an announcement crackled through Westbrook's ancient PA system. All students were to report to the gymnasium for a mandatory assembly on school safety. Teenage groans echoed through hallways as they shuffled toward metal bleachers. But whispers rippled when Principal Garcia took the microphone. "Recent incidents have highlighted our need for better conflict resolution skills," she began, her gaze finding Tyler in the crowd. "Today's workshop will be led by a special instructor." The gym doors swung open. Students turned, then fell silent. Mr. Bennett walked in, but transformed. Gone were the button-down shirt and loafers. Instead, he wore tactical training gear, fitted black t-shirt revealing muscular arms previously hidden beneath Oxford cloth, cargo pants, and military-grade boots. His posture had changed too, spine straight, shoulders squared, presence commanding the room without a single word. "For those who only know me as your English teacher," Noah began, his voice carrying effortlessly, "allow me to introduce myself properly. Before teaching Hemingway, I was First Lieutenant Noah Bennett, Force Recon, United States Marine Corps." Murmurs swept through the bleachers. Tyler's smug expression faltered. Noah continued with military precision. "Today, we're discussing personal safety and defensive tactics. More importantly, we'll explore what true strength actually means." He demonstrated basic stance and balance, explaining how self-defense begins with awareness, not aggression. Students watched, mesmerized by this revelation of their seemingly mild-mannered teacher. "I need a volunteer," Noah announced, scanning the gymnasium, his eyes locked with Tyler's. "Mr. Harrison, perhaps you'd assist me?" The football star hesitated, then swaggered forward, attempting bravado. Classmates whistled and called encouragement as he stepped onto the training mat. The most common mistake in confrontation is believing size equals power, Noah explained, standing opposite the much larger teenager. "Tyler, I'd like you to try to grab me, just as you did my shirt earlier today." Tyler lunged awkwardly. In one fluid motion, Noah redirected the boy's momentum, using a simple Krav Maga technique that left Tyler flat on his back, stunned but unharmed. The gymnasium erupted in gasps and scattered applause. Noah extended his hand, helping Tyler up. "Notice I didn't need to hurt you to neutralize the threat. Real strength lies in control, not dominance." For the next hour, Noah taught basic defensive moves, weaving in lessons about respect and courage. He shared sanitized stories from his military career, including how discrimination had followed him through service. Before "don't ask, don't tell" was repealed, "I face choices daily," hide who I was, or lose my career. Noah revealed, "My husband Daniel, a Navy SEAL, taught me that standing up for yourself doesn't always mean fighting. Sometimes it means refusing to become what others want you to be." The gymnasium fell completely silent at this personal revelation. Daniel died protecting his unit during an ambush in Afghanistan. He could have escaped first, but he stayed behind, covering their retreat. Noah's voice remained steady despite the emotion beneath. That's what courage looks like. Not tearing someone down to feel powerful, but building others up, even at personal cost. As students filed out afterward, something had shifted in Westbrook High. The teacher they had dismissed as weak now stood revealed as someone who had faced dangers they could barely imagine. Yet instead of wielding that revelation as a weapon, he had offered it as a bridge. Noah was organizing papers when a hesitant knock interrupted the classroom's silence. Tyler stood in the doorway, alone this time, without his usual swagger. "Mr. Bennett," he began, voice barely audible. "Got a minute?" Noah gestured toward a desk. The football star sat awkwardly, oversized in the student chair, eyes fixed on his hands. "My dad was a Marine," Tyler finally said. "3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, Iraq." Noah nodded, allowing silence to create space for difficult words. "He came back different. Mom said he brought the war home inside him." Tyler's voice cracked slightly. 2 years ago, he used his service weapon, left a note saying he couldn't quiet the noise in his head anymore. Understanding dawned across Noah's features. The bullying, the aggression, classic displacement of unprocessed grief. "I found his tags after. Wear them sometimes." Tyler pulled a chain from beneath his shirt. "When you showed those moves today, it reminded me of him, before everything went wrong." That confession opened floodgates. The next morning, Jason waited by Noah's car. Admitting his father's convenience store empire came with crushing expectations. "Being tough was easier than being scared of failing," he explained. Zach appeared during lunch period, revealing how his police officer father's pressure to follow in his footsteps left no room for his own dreams. "Dad says showing emotion is weakness, but maybe I want something different." Noah listened to each confession without judgment, recognizing wounded spirits hiding behind protective masks of cruelty. Rather than punishment, he offered opportunity. With Principal Garcia's blessing, Noah established Warriors Within, an after-school program teaching physical discipline alongside emotional intelligence. The program focused on self-defense, conflict resolution, and community service, particularly for students with connections to military or first responder families. Remarkably, Tyler, Jason, and Zach became his first volunteers. Their transformation wasn't immediate, but unfolded gradually over weeks. Tyler's aggressive energy channeled into protecting younger students from hallway intimidation. Jason leveraged his family's business connections to secure donations for program equipment. Zach discovered natural talent for mentoring, helping students process complicated emotions. Together, they planned the Daniel Bennett Memorial Scholarship for children of fallen service members. Their first fundraiser, a community self-defense workshop, drew unexpected support from local veterans organizations. When participants learned the scholarship's origins, donations poured in beyond their modest goals. The program's impact extended beyond its immediate participants. Disciplinary incidents throughout Westbrook decreased noticeably. Students previously invisible found voice and purpose. The 3 former bullies, once feared, became respected student leaders. One afternoon, Noah discovered Tyler helping a freshman with poetry analysis. Hemingway, specifically, the same text he had mockingly disrupted months earlier. "This writer knew about war," Tyler explained seriously to the younger student, "about carrying it home with you." Watching from the doorway, Noah felt Daniel's presence alongside him. This transformation, from destruction to creation, from cruelty to compassion, embodied everything his husband had stood for. These young men were learning what many adults never grasp: true power lies not in domination but in elevation. The strongest among us aren't those who never fall, but those who rise again, bringing others up alongside them. Spring sunlight streamed through Westbrook High's auditorium windows as the graduating class adjusted their caps and gowns. Among them sat Tyler, Jason, and Zach, transformed from the troublemakers they'd been in September to the leaders they'd become by May. Principal Garcia approached the podium. This year's student speaker was selected by unanimous faculty vote, Tyler Harrison. Applause filled the room as Tyler took the stage, his confident stride now purposeful rather than intimidating. He unfolded his speech but set it aside, choosing instead to speak from the heart. "A year ago, I was angry at the world," Tyler began. "I took that anger out on others, especially our new English teacher." His eyes found Noah in the faculty section. "I thought strength meant making others feel small. Mr. Bennett taught me true strength is having the courage to lift others up, even when you're hurting." Tyler touched the dog tags beneath his gown. "My father was a hero who lost his battle with the wounds we couldn't see. Through Mr. Bennett's Warriors Within program, I learned my dad's struggle wasn't weakness. It was fighting a war that followed him home." His voice steady. Tyler continued, "Next fall, I'm joining ROTC at State University, not because fighting is glorious, but because service demands the best in us. Jason is using his business scholarship to study nonprofit management. Zach's pursuing psychology to help veterans like my father." He gestured toward Noah. "One teacher who refused to break when we tried to break him changed everything. He showed us that sometimes the quietest people carry the loudest courage." As tassels turned and caps flew, Noah stood back, watching his students celebrate. Principal Garcia approached with an envelope. "The school board approved your proposal," she said. "Warriors Within is now a permanent program. They're offering you the position of full-time student counselor alongside your teaching duties." That evening, Noah entered his apartment and placed his bag beside Daniel's Purple Heart. He opened the worn USB drive that had guided him here, playing Daniel's final message as he had countless times before. "I kept my promise," Noah whispered to the screen. "I taught them about kindness, even when the world had forgotten what kindness means." He placed a framed photo beside the medal, himself surrounded by students at the scholarship fundraiser. Tyler, Jason, and Zach front and center. The Warriors Within logo emblazoned on their shirts incorporated stylized dog tags, honoring both Daniel and Tyler's father. Sometimes our deepest wounds become our greatest teachers. Sometimes the lives we touch continue rippling outward long after we're gone. And sometimes the broken places inside us become the spaces where the most light shines through. Have you ever experienced how pain transformed into purpose can change not just your life, but the lives of those around you? Share your story in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe to Heart Stories for more powerful tales of transformation, courage, and the unexpected ways we heal each other through compassion.